Are we all emotional blackmailers? Yikes.
Yikes. Maybe we all are without even realising it.
I think so.
To some extent.
To some extent. Some more than others.
Yeah.
You may be living with an emotional blackmailer. Listen to this week's episode of
Get Real with
the English Sisters. Please follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And please do take a few minutes to give us a review because it really helps us grow. We're now in the 24% of top podcasts, so we're absolutely delighted. And that's all thanks to you downloading it and sharing and spreading the word. And you can also come and watch us on YouTube.
Yeah. So let's delve into this topic. I mean, it's kind of a...
It's like, it's a scary topic. Emotional, coming to terms with that you could be doing it, I think. That personally,
we all
each
could be
one
doing
of us could be an emotional blackmailer without realising it.
Yeah, just the word blackmailer. I mean, it's so horrific, really, isn't it? You think like your secrets are going to be exposed. And you have to actually, normally, with blackmail, you have to pay someone. But in this case, the ransom isn't money or, it's emotions.
Emotional manipulation.
Exactly.
So how we manipulate people's emotions, basically, which sounds terrible. And no one would be wanting to be accused of that.
No one would be wanting, but there are
well,
many
I
times...
certainly wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either. But I think if you ask almost any kid, when they grow up and they say, do you think you were manipulated by your parents in some way or other? They probably say yes.
Well, yeah, because it's like you do. If you do well in your exams, you'll get, like Mum told us, we would get a bike if we did well. Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually emotional blackmail though.
Well, it's kind of.
That's
you have
like
to kind
you
of
get a prize for doing well.
Yeah, and if you don't do well,
I think in that case, the reward that's more a reward, like the carrot story. You give the horse a carrot. I think that's in a different way. I think here we're talking about so if you do well, you get the bicycle and I'm going to be really proud of you. But she was always proud of us no matter what, even if we didn't do well.
Yeah, I think that's probably the difference.
There is a big difference here. I think in this case is that if you don't do well, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah, but it was a kind of emotional blackmail. I know she was very sweet and everything, but it was implied that if you didn't do well, you wouldn't get the prize. And then if you didn't get the prize, it would be quite shameful, really. There was shame attached to it. So it was some kind of emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
Even though it was more like what you say, the carrot and the rewards and the stick.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. I mean, I never really felt the pressure that if I for maths, that for me was always a big, big problem. I never felt like that if I failed maths, I wouldn't get the bike.
Because you didn't fail it, but you failed that you got you got quite good marks for everything else.
Yes.
But imagine if you hadn't.
I think she would have still given us that bike. I don't know.
She might have said next year.
Next year, work a bit
harder.
better. Yeah, work harder for it. In a way, though, I know what you mean, but I think here we're discussing more like emotional blackmail that goes on, perhaps not only within parents and mums and dads, and also though within relationships. Like,
I think it's more relevant, like in personal relationships, like what you would do with your partner.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly what you would do with your partner. So how many of us
would you give the silent treatment? Would you go storming off if something's not quite what you wanted?
Exactly, yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, so for example, your partner has prepared a lovely meal for you, but you come home and you're feeling tired and you've had a hard day at work and you don't necessarily want to
sit down and eat and talk.
Sit and talk. You just want to go quiet somewhere and chill. And so you say that to your partner, and then you say, oh, I've had a horrible day actually. Do you mind if... But the partner spent quite a lot of time preparing the meal, and they want you to take part in that.
They want you to enjoy the meal with them.
They want you to enjoy the meal, and so
and give your best at the meal.
Yes,
and listen to them and
listen and talk and say,
demand
lovely,
your attention.
Demand your attention, but you don't really feel like giving that attention. And then a big fight starts, so you might say, well, darling, thanks. Don't really want to do this now. I wish you'd let me know. Because you know that like every Monday night or something, I'm going to be tired because I have a particularly hard day at work.
It might not have been a Monday night.
It might be any night.
It might have been a Saturday night and you're just not feeling up to it.
Well, yeah, you're right. It could be any night, yeah.
It doesn't have to be just because that, it's in a way, it's a lack of consideration from the partner because, first of all, you haven't bothered to go and ask what your day's
Yes,
like.
yeah.
Or
ask if you want to do that.
Yeah,
Shall we organise this?
Yeah, but if you wanted it to be a surprise and you say, of course, darling, I understand. If you want, I'll plate something up for you. You can go and eat it in your room. Or if you're not hungry, we'll eat it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll postpone it for tomorrow. We'll have it tomorrow.
And it's normal for the partner who did take care in preparing that meal for them. I would be disappointed too. But the difference between me and an emotional blackmailer in this case is that I would say, shame. My hubby doesn't want to enjoy this meal because he's too tired. Oh, well, never mind. I am a bit disappointed. But I'm not going to slam the door and cause,
not talk to them
or not talk to them. I'll probably say, oh dear, all right then. So, well, what happened then today? You're really tired, or just say, right, okay, I've got to understand the other person's point of view. I might have had a chill day, but they haven't. So that's the difference, I think, between.
Yeah, I think emotional blackmailers, a lot of it happens as well when someone wants to go on a holiday by themselves with friends or for sporting reasons, and the other one doesn't want to go.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of blackmail placed on that, where the partner says, yes, you can go, but then they might not talk to them and they might cause a scene, and then they might, they say, yeah, sure, go. I don't own you. Of course you can go if you want to go. But then the body language and everything else is saying, no, I don't want you to go and you shouldn't go.
Right, so they create
blackmail.
Fear.
The fear is that if
guilt.
I do go, I'm going to be guilty of this, and I'm going to get, like punished for it.
So they use fear and guilt to get their victims in a way to obey them.
Yeah,
that's what emotional blackmailers actually do.
Mm.
So if you are living with one, you can recognize it.
Yeah, because sometimes I think
it's
most of us do
it
a little bit because we might give the silent treatment a little bit, but or you might just,
I hate that silent.
Yeah,
I have never given that,
but you might.
I have received it.
Yeah,
and I really hate it. Yeah,
and you might, but in the end, sometimes, you have to do that as well. Sometimes you do have to give a bit of a silent treatment to go and cool off, or to have that time to yourself to realize, what have I done? Is this correct? Isn't
That's
it correct?
Different to silent treatment. Say, look, I need time to think about this.
But you
and
don't
going
need
off.
If you're both shouting and then just one goes off in a huff and just silent. Sometimes I think that's needed as well, to show the other person that you do not agree with them without starting to shout and scream and, cause a big fuss.
Okay, yeah.
But another thing is just, okay, you haven't done what I want you to do, so now I'm going to give you a silent treatment.
Yeah. The emotional blackmailer, I'm just reading it here, actually says that they won't use your secrets against you, like what we were saying before. They will control you using your emotions. So they use your own emotions. So they use your emotion of fear, of losing them. They use your emotion of guilt, because you can start feeling guilty. They're using your emotions. So one would think, why would we let them use our emotions? Yeah, it's a fear. So we're doing this to ourselves in a way, because that's the creepy part, because nobody really can tell you what to think or what to feel. But they can sure make you feel it because that's how,
because of what they're doing.
because
to you.
of the blackmail and the manipulation that's going. They're making you feel that. They're using threats.
Or how many times has one partner said to the other, husband or wife or partner, whatever they are, said, yeah, go out, you have a good time, you go out, and then when you come back, it's all annoyed and angry and slamming doors or not talking to you.
Yeah, that really is a classical case. Because that's even, I think, there could be also the threat, well, if you go out with your friends tonight, then this isn't going to work for me because I need someone that really does give me the attention. And so they make you think, okay, then I won't go out with my friends tonight. I can't go out with my friends tonight. And then you say, oh, come on, it'll just be this once. And you go out and then there's a big fuss cause when you return. That is a classical case, yeah. That's horrible, really, isn't it?
Well, of course it's horrible. It is horrible. But I mean, so many people live in relationships like that without realizing it. And you, listener, might be in one of these relationships. And if it happens every now and again, but if you notice that it's a lot of the time that your partner is manipulating you and using emotional blackmail to make you do what they want,
because it's strong.
You
word,
must be
blackmail.
aware of it.
Yeah,
it's a strong word, but in the end, that's what they're doing.
In this case, that's why we're using it, because it's a warning sign.
Yeah.
It's a warning sign for your relationship.
It could be, I'm just thinking about career-wise, it could be that they want you to work in a certain field or work certain number of hours.
This isn't just in relationships. And you might be
wanting to do part-time because you're really, you've had enough and you're really overwhelmed or whatever reason, and that they just won't accept that. So they might say, yeah, sure, do part-time, but then all their body language, their actions in the days and weeks to come show that they are not in agreement with this and they do not want you to do this. And in the end, you might just think you've come to your own conclusion and say, oh, well, yeah, okay, I will. No, I won't do it. I'll just work. It's not a good idea. I'll just work full time. I'll just stay where I am. So it could also be if you wanted to start a new business, they could do this to you.
Yeah.
Emotional blackmail. It could,
in many aspects and many areas of your life.
Or if you're starting to frequent new friends, they could do it because they might not like them, or they might think that usually it's because the emotional blackmailer themselves are insecure, and that the only way of them feeling that they're good enough is to control you. That's where it all stems from.
Yeah, that is so true. And perhaps they've also, in their background, in their lives, they've been also, this is a habit they're used to doing.
They've learned how to do that.
They've learned this from somebody.
Relationships function.
Yeah. They're from their parents, from their caregivers, somebody who they've experienced this themselves. And thus they project it onto their new relationship as well. So if you're aware of it, you can learn to stop it, I think, if it's worth it, if the relationship is one that you value, and you really care enough about, you can become aware of it and sometimes realize when you're doing it yourself as well, and then realize when your loved ones might be doing it to you.
You could be both doing it like in a yo-yo, to each other.
Yeah, I mean, aside from this, a blackmail can also disguise the implied threats by making a promise. So, I mean, they can disguise the threats.
Well, that's that's why I say the bike was a bit like that. The promise you'll get the bike at the end.
Really?
I do honestly think it was a bit of emotional blackmail going on there.
Without realising it, because that was common.
Intentions, and it was a common thing.
That's so common even in today. Yes. So if you graduate, you'll get this. I'll give you a car. I'll get you this.
Exactly.
I'll get you that.
So it's not done with evil intent or anything.
It's meant as a reward.
It's meant as a nice thing, but it also shows that if you don't do that, I do not see you in the same way, and you're not worthy of that bike.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
And then she obviously, Mum, even if we got grades, bad grades, she still gave us the bike. So, But as a child, you feel that guilt upon you. You feel that emotional blackmail on you. You're also happy. So that I think that's where the dark side is, because you're happy because you
That's
think,
where the disguise is.
The disguise is because you think, yes, I'm going to get this and I'm going to, do this. But then if I don't do it, that's where the fine line is, where the tricky thing is.
Yeah, that's like the disguise. It's like your partner, if they said, well, if you don't go out with your friends and you stay with me, we can eat whatever you like. We can even watch a movie you've meant to watch for so long, and so it's like, oh, we'll do whatever you want if you don't go out with your buddies tonight, and if you don't do this, or if you don't go to that holiday.
What you really wanted to do was to go out with your friends.
Yeah, or you wanted to take that vacation and you wanted to experience something, just perhaps even without them, or do something with them. But yeah, so you'll have the threat will come as a disguise. So
that's the ugly truth about it.
Yeah. So yeah,
laughing, but it's no laughing matter as usual.
No, there are. Yeah, you can. Apparently, according to Dr. Susan Forward, an internationally renowned therapist and emotional wellness expert, most blackmails use different devices to manipulate you. So it's through punishment. They offer punishment, they offer rewards, like what we were saying before.
Exactly.
Yeah. And those are the two main things that she was discussing that they do offer, offer punishment is a threat. So if you go out, then you know what you're going to get when you come back. Or if you buy that, for example, whatever you want to buy and they're not in agreement with.
Or if you do something that they don't want you to do and it's implied that they don't want you to do it, and then you do it, and then you will get punished when you get back by either getting a silent treatment or a big row or screams, or if you're younger you might get grounded. It's quite a common thing, really. Unfortunately
It is, yeah. When is it dysfunctional in a relationship? That's when I think when you start noticing it occurring very frequently, and it's also, sometimes I think it's also like, disguised as
normal.
Jealousy and normal. It's normal for your partner to not want you to hang out with like your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, because they're jealous. So maybe, but is it really? Yeah. And then is it?
They probably are jealous of you spending time with other
people, yeah.
But they use like in that case, maybe they use the hierarchy of what was expected before in certain cultures to condone that kind of behavior and say it's normal to be like that, because you shouldn't be going out with all your girlfriends or boyfriends now, because we're in a stable relationship and you should be hanging out with me most of the time.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Or if you've got someone that you hang out, there's a funny comedy on now. If you've got someone that you hang out with, a really good friend, for instance.
Yeah.
And your partner's jealous of that because you've got such a good relationship with this person, say maybe from the opposite sex or the same sex if you're drawn towards that, and the partner's jealous of that. It's, the excuse is, oh, you should be hanging out with me more, but, and you're not doing anything wrong. You've got a different kind of relationship, because one person cannot provide everything you need in your life. You're going to need friends, you're going to need partners, you're going to need a bit of everything, really, to have a balanced life.
That's true. That's very, very true. One person cannot fulfill all of the roles.
Often the emotional blackmailer will want to do that when they want to, because then you'll find that when they need to go out and do their things,
it's all fine.
And then if you don't want them to do that because you think it isn't fair, then that's when they'll give you the emotional blackmail. And then
once again.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
to
how they
become
control
aware
you.
of these kind of manipulations when they become very, dysfunctional.
If it's happening all the time, I would say you should point
Yeah.
it out, and and you can go and have therapy as a couple as well if you think that your
Yeah.
relationship's worth saving. But otherwise, really, I mean, you should look long and hard. Do I really want to live with an emotional blackmailer for the rest of my life?
Well,
If you're in a
especially if
relationship.
you're in a relationship, yes, definitely. A lot of the times it's just with your friends as well. You can
Of
find they do
course.
that a lot.
Yeah, the friends can really
Friends
do
can
it.
do that, yeah. You can have friends that you can be manipulated by and emotionally blackmailed by.
They
So
want you to
much,
do something
yeah.
and you might not want to do it, and they make you feel as if you're unworthy or not good enough if you don't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of guilt attached to it afterwards. And just not the right way to be going forwards if you want a healthy, strong relationship that has the right boundaries, I think, as well, and that respects each other's feelings fully. So you want to be aware that you're respecting the person you love's feelings, but also be aware that your feelings are being respected. And how you feel is just as important, just as equally important.
Well, it is, because I'm thinking also that you might have a partner that, say, loves sport and they're away for a lot of the time, say at the weekends when you want to have quality time with them. But in the end, in a relationship, you have to respect the partner, and you have to respect what they need to do to feel good, or what they enjoy doing as well.
Yeah,
It can't just be only you and work and the relationship. There's multifacets to life, isn't there?
Yeah. The
And
play.
and it could be that you might be doing, you might say, no, I don't want you to go and play football this weekend, or I don't want you to go and play golf, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then you're not really respecting their wishes, because that's how
You might not want them to do it, but if that's what gives them pleasure and that's what's going to help them relax and have a better life, ultimately you have to say, okay, that you're going there, and that I know I love you, so I know that's what makes you happy.
Well, really, if you love them, it should make you happy as well.
Exactly.
You should be happy for them.
Well, you can be happy for them, I think.
And if you find that you're not happy, maybe you should look at your own life and think, well, why do I have to rely on this person so much? What am I lacking in?
Yeah, maybe it's time for me to look for something that
makes me feel good.
Yeah, that makes me, and so that I can understand
my own cup.
Yeah, I can understand my partner now, because this has happened so many times. When your life is more fulfilled, you become less anxious, less jealous, less, I think, manipulative, if we want to call it, less with your partner, because your life is full too. And every aspect of the wheel is well, maybe not every aspect, but most of it is completed. The play, the work, fun. Play and fun is the same thing. I've repeated myself, but
you obviously want a lot of that.
You do want a lot of it, don't you?
Obviously,
work and play and relaxation all has to fit. Definitely. So, yes, I think if you find yourself in a relationship like that, where you are being manipulated and you are being blackmailed.
So what would you suggest if you do find it? So as we're hypnotherapists, what would you suggest for them to be able to do?
I think become aware of it. Look for the signs.
And then
I think
standing up.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and you are being emotionally blackmailed, you'll recognise that some of the things we've been talking about, the silent treatment, slamming the door, threats, punishments, you'll know what we're talking about, unfortunately, because you've experienced them. So I think you're going to have to learn how to
Sometimes,
say no.
unfortunately, you might not have even been aware that you might just think that's a normal, healthy relationship, unfortunately, because
Yeah, but now maybe you're kind of thinking, hey.
Yeah, but you might be thinking, after listening to this, thinking, is this normal? No, not really.
Am I being emotionally blackmailed? Or am I the emotional blackmailer? Hey, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I give silent treatment. I do this. I do that. And thinking, oh no, you don't want to be doing that anymore. What can you do to not do that anymore? Well, you can become aware for a start that you're actually doing it and thinking, that's not good. It's not the way. It's not the way to go ahead with my relationship. You're not going to come to have a beautiful relationship with somebody if you're doing that, because they're staying with you because you're threatening them, because you're punishing them. No, you want them to be with you because they love you, and you want to have to work on your own self-doubt and your own issues.
Yes, I would suggest you go to therapy, really.
That's the best suggestion ever.
And to grow.
Look into it, look into your own.
And if you can't go to therapy because there's none in your area or whatever, just, listen to podcasts like these and grow personally. Grow.
Yeah, with your own, do self-development, read stuff, understand yourself more.
There's so many books as well that you can read
to help increment your self-esteem.
So much stuff now.
Yes, absolutely.
There's so many things available to you.
Right, I think we've come to a conclusion.
And let's all say goodbye to emotional blackmail.
Yeah, let it be the end of that. Whether you're doing it, whether you're receiving it, let's say no.
Let's say no. And I think when you put your foot down to emotional blackmailers, they usually really get really scared.
Yes, yeah.
Usually most of them are scaredy cats in the end.
They're scaredy cats and
they're used to manipulating you and getting their own way. But if you actually say no and do it and don't care about the threats they're giving you, in the end they'll back down usually.
Yes, they will.
Especially if you make them aware of what they're doing and you tell them what they're doing.
Yeah. It's a bit like the bully scenario, isn't it? Yeah.
When it all comes out in the open, they're disarmed.
They're disarmed. It's rather a shock because they may not be even aware that they're doing it.
Exactly. Okay.
So,
thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And we look forward to hearing your comments. And please do come and watch the video on YouTube where you can also comment. And Spotify has a comment section as well. So you can leave your comments
that's
there.
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. We will answer, and we really do look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, so hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube and follow us if you're anywhere else where you get your podcasts. Lots of love and smiles from the English Sisters. Bye-bye.